Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh students. Welcome all. I am your history teacher Mr. Mudassir. Whenever we discuss or debate certain events happened in the past, we always have these questions in our mind. When, how and where. And in regard of these questions, we are going to start the first chapter of history, that is how, when and where. The concept map, which you see on your screen, tells us the important topics of the chapters. How important are the dates? What official records do not tell us? How do we know? How do we periodize the history? And what is the colonial and which dates are important in the history? So, how important are the dates? So, let's first start with how important are the dates. How much dates are important, students? There was a time when historians were fascinated with the dates. Who is historian now? Historian is a person who studies and writes about the past. That time was different when historians were fascinated with the dates. Which ruler was crowned or when battles were fought? Always there was a heated debates about these dates. In the common sense notion, history was synonymous with the dates. You might have also heard people saying, I find history boring because it's all about memorizing the dates. But, students, is such a concept true? History is certainly about the changes that occurs over the time. It is about finding how things were in the past and how things have changed. As soon as we compare the past with the present, we refer to time we talk about of before and after. What we see today around us is not always been in the world we inhabit. For example, watching someone sip a cup of tea, you might ask yourself, when did the people begin to take a tea or coffee? Or you see railways around you, buses around you, or air transport around you. You might be very curious when these were invented.
Or while reading the newspaper, we may become curious to know how people got to hear about the things before the newspaper began to be printed. And all these things, historical questions refer us back to the notion of their time. But students, time does not have to be always precisely dates in terms of a particular year or a month. Sometimes it's actually incorrect to fix precise dates to process that happened over a period of a time. Suppose if I ask you, when did APJ Abdul Kalam got succeed? But to ask this is actually incorrect because after his success, there is lot of hard work he did in his lifetime. We cannot specify that in particular date. Similarly, people in India did not begin drinking tea one fine day. They develop a taste for it over the time. There can be no clear dates for a process like these. Similarly, as the establishment of the British rule is concerned, we cannot fix one single date. Students, national movement started in India against the British rule in 1857 to obtain freedom, but it remained unsuccessful. All these things happened over a stretch of a time. We cannot only refer to a span of a time, that is, an approximate period over which particular changes become visible. So, we observe that in history there is no particular date for every event. There are a lot of other things we can talk about. Still, why then people we we can continue to associate history with the string of dates? There is also a reason for this. There was a time when history was an account of battles and big events. This history was about the rulers and their policies. In this history, usually historians usually wrote about the years a king was crowned, the year he married, the year he had a child, the year he fought a war, the year he died, the year next ruler succeed to the throne. And only for the events such as these, specific dates can be determined, and in historians such as these debates about the dates continue to be important. But as you have seen in the history textbooks of the past 2 years, historians now wrote about the other issues and the questions. Now historians look at how peoples earn their livelihood, what they produce and eat. So, for students, you have learned how much dates are important or how much dates are unimportant, why people connect dates with particular event. Do historians talk about these things also? Now, you have got all this now.